All right. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. I'm gonna wait a few minutes before I get started here. Okay. Hi, Daniela. I see you guys. This is Dr. Jaclyn Tolentino. I am broadcasting live from EliteHealth here in Miami Beach. And today's Periscope is on best foods to balance your hormones. There's actually a lot to say about this, so I'm only going to touch base on some of the main concepts and tell you some more about my favorite things, the best things that I like to use, and a lot of the things that I recommend to my patients. Important for us to understand when it comes to balancing your hormones is that you really need to make sure that you're getting in a good balance of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And everything that you eat, no matter what it is actually either helping the production of your hormones or actually making it worse, okay? So everything that you eat, think about it. No matter what you are eating or actually even drinking too, it's actually either helping the production or balance of your hormones, or it's actually causing it to not work as well and not work for that imbalance, not work towards that balance. I've mentioned in my Periscopes previously, on the previous Wednesdays, how the hormones are like a symphony, and every hormone has to play its part. And in order for all of your hormones to work better, they all have to be optimized. And in order for you to feel your best and look your best and not have too many hormone symptoms, this is very, very important that all of the hormones are actually optimized and together in balance. So one important thing that we need that I've mentioned is that healthy fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. We need a balance of the three. However, it's really the fats that are really important for us to maintain the best hormone balance. Hormones themselves, we actually make them using a lot of fatty acids and cholesterol. So those low-fat diets or non-fat or fat-free, it's actually not good for you. You do need to have fat in your diet. You just need to have the right fats in your diet. So healthy fats and good fats. A long time ago, I would even say, I guess not even that long ago, everybody was into like the fat-free everything, and they would go completely fat-free. But over time, you start to realize the most important thing is that you have everything in moderation and you have a good balance. So it's not no fats, it's just a matter of eating good or healthy or the right types of fats. When you're not getting enough fat and you're not getting enough of protein, you're not getting enough carbohydrates, you won't have the best hormone production because you do need the balance of all three of those in order to balance out your hormones. So clean proteins are very, very important. And of course, like I mentioned, how important the fats are. Some of my most favorite fats that I like to recommend to a lot of my patients, I think olive oil is definitely up there on the list. Olive oil was mentioned many times over at the nutrition conference I went to. The cooking demonstrations that they used, they were all using olive oil. It's a plant oil. It's very, very rich in antioxidants, especially vitamin E, and it helps remove oxidative stress from the body and decreases inflammation. And they've also linked it to decreased risk of cancer. It has very good effects on your blood pressure, very good effects on your blood sugars, and of course your cholesterol levels. And it also helps in calcium absorption for people that are becoming osteopenic or osteoporotic and higher risk of bone fractures. So olive oil is one of those healthy fats that you need in order to make that cholesterol. Coconut oil, I also love coconut oil too. So coconut oil is one of the best sources of medium chain triglycerides. That's actually a type of fat that quickly converts into energy shortly after you eat it. So it's up there on the list too. It's also good for thyroid support, and it can help boost your metabolism. If you ever buy coconut oil in the store, you'll notice the cold pressed extra virgin coconut oil is probably your best choice. It also is solid at 76 degrees, so then you notice the jars of the coconut oil, you can actually see it solidify if it's 76 degrees. We use it at home for everything. I put coconut oil in smoothies. I use it for when we're steaming vegetables. You can actually scramble your eggs in coconut oil. It's very good for you. Also, people start to use face creams that have coconut oil. It's great for your skin. It's the lauric acid that's in coconut oil that actually, makes that very beneficial and healing for your skin. Coconut oil is also very good to ingest because it does kill off some of the bad bacteria, and it's very good for viruses in your body too. So on top of being like one of those healthy fats like olive oil, adds a good source of healthy fats in order to make the types of things that we need to balance the hormones. Coconut oil is a very, very good one. Another good food for your hormones is eggs. Eggs have been turned away, and then they say eggs are bad for you. They say only eat certain parts of the eggs. I think generally speaking, eggs in whole are great. Whether you're eating the egg whites, I think especially the egg yolks, they actually have a lot of vitamins and nutrients in there too. Eggs in general are a very good source of all different kinds of vitamins and minerals. It's very rich in the fat-soluble vitamins like A, vitamin D, E, and K. Also the B vitamins, which are very, very important for us. It's also good for iron and calcium, phosphorus as well. It's also good for your stronger nails. A lot of people don't realize that eggs are actually good because they do have higher amounts of biotin that are good for your nails too. The egg yolk in particular has the choline and the iodine, so that's very important, especially for thyroid metabolism. So again, olive oil, coconut oil, and I do love eggs for that healthy fat too. Avocado. Avocado is very, very good for your hormone balance. It has a high monounsaturated fatty acid content, and this actually aids in the absorption of nutrients. It's very good for you. It has a lot of fiber and potassium. A lot of people are wondering how much avocado to eat. Usually like a third of an avocado a day, usually a third is good for you. Also, it's very high in B vitamins, folic acid, and potassium, magnesium, and so forth. It also has an actual plant sterol in the avocado that has anti-estrogen properties. So for patients that have higher levels of estrogen or higher levels of estrogen, estrogen containing like fat cells that you find in visceral fat, because visceral fat does hug on to that estrogen, avocado is very good to help balance that out as well. So moving on to some of the clean proteins. Clean proteins that I like in particular, I do eat a lot of wild-caught fish, and if we do happen to have any sort of meat, we stick to the organic meats. Wild salmon is probably your best source of the omega-3s, and it has a lot of amino acids. And wild salmon itself, they link it to decreased levels of anxiety and depression. And again, just like the olive oil, it does help protect against heart disease and cancer. So wild salmon is definitely one on my list, and I do have it every week. Wild fish in general, I like it better. I think it's a better source of quality, clean protein versus the farm-raised. Farm-raised salmon, it's funny because they actually, when you do have farm-raised salmon, it's actually dyed, because if they dye it the same color as wild-caught salmon, it appeals more to consumers, so it does contain dyes. Now, farm fish also have like very large amounts of carcinogens, mercury, very high levels of that as well. And of course the water has a lot of disease, and the fish are also given a lot of antibiotics. All of these things increase inflammation. Anything that's going to increase inflammation is going to cause your hormones to go out of whack. So it's important to, pay attention to that. In previous Periscopes, I've talked about that, talked about inflammation and how important that is to make sure that you're eating anti-inflammatory foods. So if you need to take a look at that stuff, by the way, and you want to see my previous Periscopes, you can find all of that on YouTube under the EliteHealth Medical Group, and all of my previous Periscopes are on there as well. So wild-caught fish is one of the clean sources of protein. When it comes to organic, like grass-fed meats, I do have, very limited amounts of meat on a weekly basis. For example, if I'm going to have chicken or any turkeys or beef, we try to stick to grass-fed, organic types of meats. Next up, as far as vegetables and fruits go, it's vegetables and fruits, not fruits and vegetables, because you want to make sure you're taking in more vegetables than fruits. When it comes to the veggies, the most antioxidant-rich ones that will help with oxidative stress on your cells and your body, the best ones for you, are usually the brightly colored ones. So you're thinking like the bell peppers, the carrots, red onions, and so forth. Dark green leafy vegetables too. The thing that you have to pay attention to, like when it comes to broccoli and also cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower, those all come from a family called cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables, yes, they do have great benefits, but they're also not good if they're eaten raw for patients that have thyroid conditions. So everybody says eat your broccoli, and they always tell you how important it is for these cruciferous vegetables, that you should be eating abundant amounts of them on a weekly basis. However, if you do suffer from any thyroid problems, make sure that you actually steam or cook the vegetables, and that helps remove some of the problems that can be caused with eating them raw, because there are some compounds in there that do affect your thyroid. So it's important not to do that. Also, on the flip side, the good things about broccoli and these cruciferous vegetables, it does fight off excess estrogen. So if you do have estrogen dominance or symptoms of estrogen excess, it will help with that as well. Now, when it comes to, let's see here, when it comes to fruits, my best things, I actually like a lot of berries. Strawberries, blueberries, higher in the antioxidants, also raspberries too. I do try to stick to berries. They have higher levels of antioxidants and lower sugar levels, and they do still give you high fiber, and it'll help to balance your sugar. Also, I like all the berries because they can be frozen, and it doesn't decrease the bioavailability of any of the nutrients that you're getting from them. So whenever they have those buy one get one free specials on blueberries and strawberries, they do that as well. I stick to the organic kind, but those actually you can freeze, and then you can use them in smoothies and when you're making an acai bowl in the morning and so forth. That's very good for you. A couple things I came across that I think are important for you to know about your hormones. A lot of patients think that nuts are a very good source of clean protein, and I agree to a certain extent. It's important that if you are going to consume, higher amounts of it, pay attention, because nuts also have thyroid inhibiting, compounds in them, just like the broccoli did, and also the other cruciferous vegetables in that family. Different kinds of nuts also have this problem. So almonds, cashews, peanuts, and walnuts, these types of things, they actually can inhibit your thyroid from functioning best. And if that's the case, then you may have symptoms of hypothyroidism. I mentioned before some of those symptoms again. So if you have issues with weight gain, fatigue, cold intolerance, those types of things. Also more hair thinning or hair shedding, even towards the edge of the eyebrows, and even if your actual hair is shedding more than usual, it may be something to look into when it comes to your thyroid. It could also be what you're eating. If you're eating a lot of things that inhibit your thyroid, then that's a problem too. Also sugar, so anything brown sugar, white sugar, any type of sugar, anything processed, deep fried, also anything that has added sugars. These types of things are very, very inflammatory. It was on my list of one of the top inflammatory things. So anything like this actually prevents the conversion of your T4 into your T3 in your thyroid. So in order for you to use your thyroid to the best of its ability for good metabolism and none of those hypothyroid symptoms, and you want to prevent this conversion of the T4, you want to make sure you keep the conversion of the T4 into the T3 so that your body can use it. It's important to stay away from these types of inflammatory foods. Caffeine is another thing. Caffeine and alcohol, if you have too much caffeine and alcohol, it also does something to your hormones. For a lot of women, it triggers a lot of hot flashes. A lot of women, when they drink alcohol and they start to get hot, get red cheeks and red face, they think it's an allergic reaction, but it's also triggering a lot of the hot flashes. So that's something to stay away from. Something for bloating. I like coconut water. I think organic coconut water is great. A lot of my patients, it does help them with a lot of bloating and water retention. Sometimes the bloating and water retention can also be due to you consuming a lot of inflammatory foods. But also if you have any sort of deficiencies in certain minerals, even magnesium deficiency can cause it. And stress. We do know we need to keep the stress down, because stress can also contribute to these types of things and disrupt the microbiome in your GI tract and so forth. So I hope this is very helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email here at EliteHealth is jt@elitehealth.com. You can also find me on Periscope every Wednesday at around 5 o'clock. Next week I'm going to go over a few things to raise low testosterone? I get this question probably on a I guess I would say maybe 2 or 3 times a day. I have a lot of patients wondering how they can raise up their testosterone level naturally. So I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to round about and go through a summary of some ways that we can increase your testosterone levels naturally, and things that you can be doing, what you should be eating, certain ways to even exercise, and so forth. And this will be good for both men and women. So catch me on Periscope next Wednesday at around 5 o'clock, and I will talk to you then. I hope to see you soon. Take care.